Hey guys, we have a pretty intense new moon in Cancer cycle that is before us at this point in time. This new moon in Cancer is within a 1-degree orb conjunction that is super tight, super close, super powerful to the black moon. It is also in an exact square to Jupiter and Aries. So really what this is telling us, you guys, is wherever our focus is, whatever we are attaching to, whatever we are embodying energetically throughout the course of this cycle is likely to grow, is likely to expand. If we are embodying and attaching to these fears, worries, doubts, and insecurities that may be surfacing as a result of this black moon, new moon in Cancer cycle that we have going on, we are likely to get more of that. If we are able to, on the other hand, really surrender these fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts to a higher power, rest assured in our faith, trust, optimism, and hope for the future that things are happening for us and not against us at this period of time, and we're able to see the glass more half full, we are likely to have a more positive experience navigating this energy. And so really, you guys, we have a lot to talk about in terms of what is coming at us throughout the course of this cycle. Let us get into the report and kind of go through the energy and talk about some of the things that might be coming at us and some of the tools that we might be able to use to navigate as this energy unfolds over the course of the next few weeks. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological overview for this new moon in Cancer that we have coming up today. So let's jump into this chart, you guys. Like I said, very powerful new moon cycle. I mean, new moons, as you guys know, this is the seed planting phase of the month. This is when we set our intentions, our wishes, our goals, what we want to work towards and grow over the course of this next couple weeks. Whatever is intended or planted with the new moon cycle is what is growing and what is unfolding over the course of that entire cycle. So we always look at the chart of the new moon of any cycle that is coming at us because it really is sort of like the imprint that is going to be developing throughout the course of the next couple of weeks of this cycle. So whatever we got going on today, you guys, is what we are navigating over the course of this entire cycle. And it's a big one. First of all, let's just talk about the details of our new moon that we have going on. It is happening at exactly 10:51 p.m. Eastern time today, obviously June 28th. So it may actually be the early hours of the 29th in some places in the world, but in the United States, Eastern time, it's happening at 10:51 p.m. It is happening at exactly 7 degrees and 22 minutes of Cancer, which you guys know I also read the Sabian symbols as part of my work. So I will be reading this degree as 8 degrees of Cancer when we're talking about the new moon, when I get into the Sabian symbols and start really talking about the chart and the aspects, because that's just how we read the Sabian symbols. We read the wave of energy that is coming in instead of the energy that is going out and that is dissipating. So I will be reading this degree when we start talking about the chart as 8 degrees of Cancer where the new moon is happening, but it's actually happening exactly 7 degrees and 22 minutes of Cancer. And it is in an exact square to Jupiter. And you guys, this is like almost an exact to the minute square to Jupiter, because Jupiter right now is actually at 7 degrees and 18 minutes of Aries for the exact square. And then the sun and the moon are lining up at 7 degrees and 22 minutes of Cancer. So this is only a 4-minute separation from like absolute exactness from the square Jupiter and Aries and the new moon itself that is happening in the sign of Cancer. And it is also in almost an exact conjunction to the black moon. The black moon actually is exactly 1 degree off from the new moon itself when it occurs at that 7 degrees and 22 minute mark. The black moon is at 8 degrees and 22 minutes of the sign of Cancer. So we have a very close, tight black moon conjunction for both the sun and the moon. This is obviously bringing up some very strong black moon energy. You guys know we talk about the black moon about twice a month whenever the moon is in the sign where the black moon is, or the sign opposing the black moon. So this is a black moon cycle. If we didn't have our new moon going on right now, I would be talking about it being a black moon day, because the moon is forming the conjunction to the black moon. And again, like, the black moon is a trigger for energy, and whatever the moon is doing has a tendency to really activate some planets in the heavens. And when it happens to be the black moon, this is when we are triggered and activated in these more black moon vibes. So we got to talk about the black moon, and we also got to talk about this in the context of this very, 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 very tight exact square to Jupiter that is going on. So first things first, okay, let's talk about the black moon. The black moon rules our shadow side. It rules a lot of times like our subconscious programming, and it has a lot to do with the fears, the worries, the doubts, the insecurities that exist within us and cause us to project things outward, essentially. When we have black moon energy that is operating, it has a tendency, of course, because the moon activates it, of emotionally aligning us in some way with these internalized fears, worries, doubts, and insecurities. And as a result of that, causing, these triggered emotions and these projections, these external projections, because a lot of times these fears, worries, doubts, and insecurities that I'm talking about are not even really known to us and really more so contained in the subconscious part of our mind, which actually is sort of like the powerhouse of our creative potential and ability. So it's like when this energy is activated, a lot of times we just subconsciously, unconsciously go around creating these more negative experiences for ourselves as this powerful creative force within us through these subconscious faculties that are having us or causing us to project this emotion and this energy outwards that is, drawing this reflection or this mirror of whatever we're fearing, doubting, feeling insecure about back to us, sort of like reinforcing that process. And when we have the black moon, in effect, whenever we have the black moon in effect, a lot of times this really brings these fears and these like subconscious issues to the surface, because it's sort of like our psyche's way of energetically trying to help us gain an awareness of them so that we can help to clear and transcend and integrate these issues so that we can break free of their power over us, so that we are no longer like creating them through this subconscious energy, through this subconscious power. And we are able to sort of like reprogram our own psyche and be able to be like more consciously creating the experiences that are actually benefiting, what we want to experience in our life going forward. So when we have the black moon being activated, this is generally a time where we are gaining an awareness of some things that are going on within us, but it's for the purpose of helping us to heal, overcome, transcend, integrate, and release. So this whole cycle is really trying to do that for us, trying to, on a very collective level, show us some key issues that have been going on perhaps deep within us that have been causing things to happen externally that are not working in our favor, in our best interest, or that are separating us from our ability to consciously create our experiences moving forward along our path. So this cycle, therefore, that being said, and we're also dealing with the sign of Cancer, you guys, which is the sign of the home, the sign of the mother, the sign of the womb, the sign of the family, where we receive our nurturing and our support and our care. And when we have these black moon issues, the black moon itself in the sign of Cancer, this can bring up fears, worries, doubts, insecurities in regards to all of these family themes: home, mother, our ability to mother or to care for or to provide or to support for others, and also just like the family, the community, and things happening generally like within the household behind closed doors. So overall, okay, let's talk about how this energy might be surfacing, might be manifesting as we go throughout this cycle and go through this period of time. First of all, nonconformism has a tendency of coming when we're dealing with the black moon. Also rebellion and separation, okay? Separation from things. Feeling like we're on the outside, or like we don't fit in, or like we no longer fit in to our community or to our family unit in maybe a way that we had in the past. This is because it's in the sign of Cancer. These things are likely to be pertaining to the home or the family or the mother or the community, or again, like things going on within the household generally. People feeling separated from their place of origin or from their home or from their family, or rebelling against these things as well. Because with Jupiter, also remember, Jupiter in the sign of Aries right now, this is all about having the freedom to pursue and to go after a personal truth, to embody a personal truth in one way or another. So with Jupiter forming the square as well, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, but the like overall issues that are likely to be coming up are sort of a conflict that could be going on between a need to have the freedom to align with and embody this personal truth, and simultaneously these fears, worries, doubts, and insecurities about, things regarding the home, the family, the group, the unit, the community, and the nurturing and support and that we feel we are receiving or able to give or receive in one way or another. These two things are likely to be causing some type of issues for us over this cycle again, but it's for the purpose of actually helping us to heal in some type of a way. So we may experience generally these feelings of being ostracized, or just like we don't fit in maybe where we used to fit in the same way that we used to fit in. The ego, a lot of times, because we are talking about the sun, right? The sun and the moon coming into the conjunction with the black moon. Now the moon, this is our emotions, and the sun, this is sort of like our sense of self also, and like what makes us grow and what makes us thrive, and our spirit and our character and stuff like that. And when we're talking about this aligning with the shadow side, with the subconscious mind, with the deeper recesses of our psyche, a lot of times the ego itself, like us ourselves, can feel exiled or separated in terms of the care or the nurturing or the support of others that we may be receiving or able to receive. And some questions that we might want to ask ourselves if we are feeling this way as we're going through this energy is like, what, because it's ultimately about something that is going on within us. Any of the black moon is about projections, and any of the experiences along these lines that we may be dealing with or struggling with over the course of this cycle, really we need to turn whatever that experience is sort of inwards and ask ourselves where we are doing that to ourselves internally. Like if we feel that we are being exiled or cast out externally in some type of way, we really need to ask ourselves, like, what parts of ourselves are we casting out? Where do we feel internally unworthy or unable to accept or care for or nurture or support others or our own selves? Where are we feeling a lack of ability to stand on our own 2 feet and to like be independent? Or where do we feel like we need to attach or depend on others in order to get our needs met? This could also really be bringing up some issues with codependency and stuff like that throughout the course of this cycle. And we may find ourselves in situations where we're sort of feeling detached from, what had been maybe like our security blanket in the past, or, this home or family or community-based situation where maybe we were deriving our comfort and security and getting our needs met in the past. With Jupiter and Aries also making the square, this is a very independent energy that is coming through. It's like the independent self juxtaposed to the home and the family and the fears and the securities and the doubts associated with that for some reason. So we should be asking ourselves, if we are feeling this rejection or feeling cast out or just experiencing these doubts or these insecurities in regards to our place in the group, in the home, in the unit, what about ourselves are we casting out, like I said, or what are we rejecting internally, or what are we not accepting, or what are we not loving and unconditionally about ourselves? What are we unwilling to accept and love about ourselves? That might be why we are experiencing externally circumstances or situations, why we are feeling unloved or why we are feeling uncared for. So this is like one aspect of the way that this energy might be playing out. Now, as I mentioned in my intro, this whole cycle, it's very important to keep in mind there are 2 very distinct possibilities, 2 distinct octaves in terms of the way that this energy can play out. And they're sort of extremes because we're talking about Jupiter, which expands everything. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and supersizing things. And the black moon also has to do with polarities, because the black moon has to do with the shadow. It's the shadow juxtaposed to the light. And of course, without light, there is no shadow, and the black moon rules the shadow. And so when we're dealing with the black moon, we're dealing in polarities a lot of times too. And that's also why when the moon is transitioning the sign where the black moon is, or the sign opposite the black moon, that is when it really triggers the black moon energy, because the black moon focuses and deals in polarities. So we have polarities going on, shadows and light, just naturally when we're dealing with the black moon. And then we're dealing with the square, the exact square to Jupiter from our new moon itself. There's the sun and the moon right there, also another set of polarities. But Jupiter in a square to the new moon creates these two extremes, these two potentials based on basically, essentially, like how our attitude is and what we are attaching to, what we are embodying. Are we expanding and embodying the light this cycle, or are we expanding and embodying and projecting the shadow? The black moon is the queen of the shadow, and Jupiter is actually like the king of the light. Jupiter, this is the Santa Claus planet. This is the great benefic. This is, hope and optimism and faith and trust and expansion and positivity and luck and blessing. So we have the king of the light juxtaposed to the queen of the shadows, and these are the vibes that we're navigating as we go through the cycle. The queen of the shadows, are we going to let this energy take us into our darkest, deepest fears and allow ourselves to project them onto the collective? Or are we going to have the ability to align with faith and trust and truth and hope and optimism that everything is actually, as I said in my intro, working for us and not against us, and we are in alignment with a higher power, and this is just part of our path right now, and we are surrendering our fears to that higher power, and again, the hope and faith and trust that this is for our best and our highest good. So these are sort of the two octaves, again, that can be expanded, and we may feel a little bit overwhelmed with everything that is playing out this cycle. Also, though, we may feel a little bit optimistic and enthusiastic. Depends, again, on sort of where we're operating, or those things could sort of be intertwined and tied in together. But when we have Jupiter forming the square, any tendency that is positive when exercised with some restraint is going to give us a positive outcome. Any tendency that we have that is negative, that is exercised without restraint, is going to give us a negative outcome. So with this Jupiter square, this energy is being expanded. Whatever side of the coin we are focused on, whatever we are looking at, is going to be expanded. If we are seeing that glass as half full, that glass is going to be very, very half full. If we're seeing the glass as half empty, that glass is going to be like half empty in extreme. So we have these two potentials that are, being emphasized as well, aside from the polarities represented by the black moon, and also the polarities just generally represented by the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine, also coming together at this point in time. Great, you guys, though, for getting ahead with anything depending on our attitude. This is a very good energy for actually creating some success for ourselves. When we have Jupiter in the square to the sun and the moon, we want to be careful, though. We want to watch excess in all of its forms. This energy can sort of cause us to bite off more than we can chew. But on the flip side of that, it also has a tendency to support us in doing things that we didn't necessarily think we could do, or we didn't necessarily think were possible for ourselves. So very supportive actually for successful results in things that maybe we thought were a bit beyond us, but we just want to watch the excess and not get ourselves into situations where we are over our head in some type of a way. Another thing with this energy is it can have a tendency, because this is a square to Jupiter, it can have a tendency to make people a bit arrogant or self-righteous, smug. And that is the type of stuff that we also want to watch, because it, unwilling to look at other people's point of view. And with the black moon there and all this potential for this more negative projection that is going on, it could definitely create a scenario where there is just some very, very ugly behavior that is going on, that is playing out. So we really want to do our best to stay out of the more egocentric nature. Jupiter and Aries also can have a tendency to expand the ego. And with the black moon there, these subconscious fears, there is the negative side of this energy could be real, real ugly, and people being very, very self-serving and very lacking empathy for the needs of others. Of course, with the black moon being in Cancer as well, this can have a tendency to cause us to, if we are acting negatively out of this energy, also sort of neglect the things that we should be caring for. So We really want to watch that. This energy can also have a tendency to have us sort of like overlooking the detail, overlooking the fine print and things. So we want to make sure that we are not just so focused on the bigger picture or the overall of what's going on that we're missing some important, like more minute facets of things that are unfolding in this energy as well. And generally, you know, talking about the specific signs that this is in, conflict between, like I said earlier, following and embodying our personal truth and having the freedom to do so, and these issues regarding home and family, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, somehow interfering with our ability to go forward in this new direction, embodying this personal truth and having the freedom to do so. On a very surface level, you guys, this could be like things happening behind closed doors, black moon in the sign of Cancer that are seeing the light of day. We also right now have Uranus at an interesting degree, and Uranus is the great fixer, the great rectifier, and Uranus is going to be playing a very, very, very active role, especially as we get towards the end of July. And Uranus puts things right, but right now Uranus is currently at 18 degrees of Taurus, and that Sabian symbol is a woman airing an old bag through a sunny window, giving it air and sunshine. And this is sort of how I'm seeing this black moon sun alignment that we have going on for this new moon today. Like things that are happening behind closed doors or that have been happening behind closed doors that maybe tend towards the more toxic or negative end of things, sort of seeing the light of day or getting aired out somehow in this energy, because we do have the sun shining the light into the darkness, shining the light into the shadow, bringing awareness to these black moon issues or to these more problematic situations that may have been happening, again, like behind closed doors or within the family unit. Cleaning out the closet, you know, also very metaphorical for what this energy could be bringing to us as this cycle unfolds. Shadows and darkness within the home and family being exposed. This could also be bringing up, with Saturn retrograde right now, things from the past, darkness that has gone on in the family in the past, like in, you know, like generational traumas or family secrets and stuff like that have been held behind closed doors or that just haven't seen the light of day for a very long time. Like this is the cycle, this is the time when that stuff could be coming out or rising to the surface, or, you know, people gaining an awareness of it of some type in some type of way or another. And also there may be some type of highlight on the theme, just in terms of also like, I don't know, like media or like just prominent like cultural theme at this point in time moving throughout this cycle about cruelty or toxicity in regards to the feminine generally by women, mothers. Like there may just be some prominent stories or something that comes up along these lines that are highlighting the more like toxic feminine or toxic female mother maternal archetype and the harm that that can cause to the organic growth in alignment with that personal authentic truth that Jupiter is trying to bring and free us to expand towards and within. These could be themes that are coming up because, I mean, ultimately, this is about shedding light on these issues and rectifying any issues that have been preventing the us individually or the collective of humanity from healing and breaking cycles as we move towards this new Aquarian paradigm that is an age of self-knowledge, self-enlightenment, self-empowerment, self-mastery, and ultimately co-creation with God and universe. Like a lot of the like more generational traumas that may have been stemming from just cycles of toxicity along the like feminine lines or the feminine archetypal energies of things, helping us to gain an awareness of this right now and clear it out so that we can break these cycles and move forward into this new paradigm in a way that is unencumbered by the inorganic growth that results from that type of thing. So emphasis on the dark side of the feminine. Also, I feel like this could bring up issues that are sort of, or it's like a collective clearing also of the root chakra energy and also the heart-based frequency, because this energy is actually helping us to gain a greater ability to align internally with unconditional love and therefore also give that and serve that externally with these Cancer vibes that we have going on this cycle as well. This all is to bring awareness and to fix these root issues and to clear these frequencies, honestly, from the planet. Like I feel like a lot of root, like I said, like root chakra healing is going to be going on throughout the course of this cycle, and also like heart center based healing, heart frequency healing. A lot of healing of some perhaps like deep childhood wounds might be going on throughout the course of the cycle as well, based on this awareness that we are gaining of these root issues and maybe where we've been holding them inside, internalizing them, or projecting them outwards, and the impact of that also on the growth and the ability for things to grow in that energy going forward. That's all being cleared out and cleaned, I feel like, this cycle. Gaining a better understanding of true unconditional love, care, and emotional support by understanding the distortion of it. It's like this cycle, we may be just immersed in experiences that really show us the distortion of this energy externally, or how it is operating within us, so that we can realize, maybe how far off course we've gotten, or what we need to change, or what we want to move away from, or what we don't want to participate in going forward. It's for the purpose of helping us to heal, transcend, integrate, and overcome. There's also some economic issues that are likely to be playing out this cycle, and that also could be playing into some of these more collective fears, maybe about our ability to just care for our family or support our family, and maybe the way that we have in the past, and whether or not we can do it anymore. These are just some of the issues with the Cancer energy that we may be dealing with. And I'm going to tell you guys sort of like our best way to deal with this. It's very important that we stay in our rational mind. We have Mercury in Gemini for the beginning of this cycle, and it's very important that we stay in our rational mind, grounded in the wisdom and knowledge that we have gained over the past few months, and the clarity that we've come to, and the perspective that we have now. We don't want to allow ourselves to be pulled off course by these more negative emotions or these fears that are surfacing at this point in time. We need to be able to surrender these fears and stay grounded in our rational thought processes, and not get sort of pulled up or whipped up in these like negative emotional rampages of self-sabotage, essentially, that could really pull us off course as we go throughout the course of this cycle. Major changes happening. Major changes are coming at us, especially as we get more towards the end of the month, you guys. And we do not want to become, as I said, the antenna that is magnifying and projecting the shadows and the darkness and the frequencies of the fear and the separation that can be represented when we have a new moon in the sign of Cancer, forming a conjunction to the black moon. We need to surrender these fears. Like I've said, I'm going to say it again. We need to surrender these fears to the divine and have faith and trust in this process that is leading to our ability to take the subconscious power that is represented by the black moon and magnify our own creative force. Consciously use our own creative force, our own creative potential to stabilize and secure our circumstances and environment. That's sort of how we alleviate these black moon issues, where maybe we are feeling unsupported, or doubting our ability to care for ourselves without maybe depending on the group, or having our needs met by some like external source. This is the energy where we can sort of like flip our fears into faith, and then instead of it projecting and creating these shadow experiences for us to gain like a greater awareness of, we can use that subconscious energy to help us create situations and circumstances that can like alleviate these fears, like stabilize ourselves. And this is not to say by any means that we are just supposed to like isolate ourselves from our family groups and our family units and launch off on our own. Like that's not what this is. This is about us becoming less codependent and more self-regulating, more masterful over our own experiences, and less at the whim of the experiences that our subconscious mind is creating for us out of the lack of perceived awareness of what's been going on within us. This is a period of time for healing and coming back into our own power and realizing, we can very much be a part of that group and receive that love and that support and that affection, and also give it as well without needing it to survive, without surrendering our power in order to have it, without having to compromise things about ourselves in order to make sure that we have that safety. Like that's what this is. Like we are being freed to essentially be able to be who we are with no strings attached, without anybody holding anything over our head, or without us having to sacrifice or surrender aspects of ourselves in order to like keep the status quo in the group, to like not make waves. We are detaching ourselves from situations where maybe we had to like shield or hide or hinder or mask or morph an aspect of ourselves in order to fit into the group to be able to receive this benefit of safety or security or something like that. We are heading into the age of Aquarius. We are learning to be independent. We are learning self-mastery. We are learning co-creation, and we can't do that when we are diminishing our own light in order to sort of maintain group cohesion. Another interesting thing about our chart today, in terms of like the numerology that's playing out, we actually have 5 8s that are present in the chart. We have 5 planets at 8 degrees today. We have the sun, we have the moon at 8 degrees of Cancer, we have the earth at 8 degrees of Capricorn, we have Venus at 8 degrees of Gemini, and we have Jupiter at 8 degrees of Aries. 8 is the number associated with Scorpio. This is a financial number and is also related to karma, and it is also related to these deep intertwinements and attachments to others. And 5 is the number of dynamic change. So this, just on a numerological value, looking at the chart, is telling me that this cycle is also likely to be a cycle of some very dynamic financial change that may be going on, and also some release from some karmic burdens, some karmic bonds, some karmic attachments, and perhaps like a very unexpected, abrupt, or dynamic way that might be unfolding throughout the course of this cycle. And it was really funny actually, because just as I was saying that, talking about this numerology, it was 22 minutes and 22 seconds on my camera. It won't be that when you guys see it, because I have to like edit some things and add another video to this. I have this whatever, but anyways, in where I'm shooting right now, 22:22 was coming up as I was saying that. So that is to me another sort of like validation that, yeah, there may be some big karmic changes, financial changes, intertwinement changes that are going on throughout the course of this cycle. And also, you guys, I feel like this cycle is indicating to me that there are about to be some injustices that are exposed as we navigate this energy, and also things having to do with false accusations simultaneously being exposed or rectified or put right in some type of way. Along the same lines of things that have been happening behind closed doors, like being exposed, or, you know, the darkness of things from the past sort of getting a second glance in the light, like second glimpse in the light or something like that. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about today before I let you guys go, I'm actually think I'm going to draw a synchronicity card for us today as well, but we need to mention the Sabian symbols. First of all, the position of the sun today, while we have our new moon, the position of the sun and the moon today for our new moon in Cancer is at 8 Cancer. Like I said, a group of rabbits dressed in human clothes walk as if on parade. So the degree of the new moon itself, I feel like this is talking about an evolution out of our lower ego, instinct, fear-based selves into a more conscious version. The rabbits, you know, rabbits are a sign of creativity and abundance and luck, but they're also, you know, a very like fear-based animal. They're a prey animal, and they are walking in human clothes as if on parade. So I feel like this is talking about an evolution that is going on sort of like out of our fears into this conscious awareness that helps us to raise ourselves out of perhaps like the ways that we have been subconsciously controlled in the past. We are like rising out of our lower nature into a much more conscious version of ourselves as this new moon in Cancer, black moon energy plays out. The position of the earth today, always in a polar opposition to the sun, and today for our new moon in a polar opposition to the moon and the sun, is at 8 degrees of Capricorn. That Sabian symbol is birds in the house singing happily. So I feel like this is sort of talking about like on the ground, what's going on the ground, the position of the earth today. We are sort of focused on like drawing our contentment from our place of stability. Like again, we're talking about this black moon, new moon in Cancer, talking about like home, family, and then the position of the earth, birds in the house singing happily. So I feel like, you know, the focus is sort of like wanting this stability, wanting this security, wanting this stable structure like under our feet and this roof over our head. And that is sort of where we are drawing our sense of contentment and happiness throughout the course of this cycle. But with the black moon also there, you know, it could be bringing up these fears, worries, insecurities, doubts about these same themes, these same concepts. We have Mercury today at 19 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is in a museum. A large archaic volume reveals a traditional wisdom. And that's why I was saying earlier, like, I feel like we need to remember what we've learned. We need to maintain our logical mind about us as we're going through this cycle. And we need to remember what we've learned generally over these past couple months and sort of like be able to use that as something to guide us as we may be going through these darker, more heavier emotions, staying in our mind, which is strong. Mercury in Gemini right now may be the way to go. We have Venus also in Gemini right now, 8 degrees of Gemini. Aroused strikers surround a factory. This is a desire for that rebellion or for that change or for that fairness in one way or another as well, for injustices to be made just, for the scales to be, balanced properly. And this is Venus. This is what we want. This is what we desire. So this cycle, I feel like we are definitely generally going to be geared towards wanting things to be fair, wanting things to be right, wanting things to be balanced. We have Mars at 26 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. So we have everything that we need inside of us and more, and we really have no reason to fear. I feel like this is reminding us, like, all we really need to do is take action to start tapping and channeling some of our potential, some of our gifts, some of our resources within us. Like, that is where we want our energy to be more so focused as we are going throughout the course of the cycle, not embodying and projecting these negative feelings. No, it's acting on the gifts, the resources, the talent within us, surrendering our fears to faith, God, and the divine, knowing that things are playing out for us, but then using our creative energy right now to begin manifesting what we want in our lives based on what we hold inside of us. And actually, you guys, the first part of the month of July is fantastic manifestation energy. So we really want to stay out of the negativity because we don't want that sabotaging what we are trying to grow and create at this point in time. We have Jupiter at 8 degrees of Aries right now, a large woman's hat with streamers blown by the east wind. I feel like this is talking about changing minds, changing perceptions, perspectives, understandings at this point in time, maybe just like blowing through this like epiphany about things, awakening, opening our eyes to something. Could be happening over the course of this cycle. Streams of consciousness as well. The streaming hat by the east wind. We have Saturn right now at 25 degrees of Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is a butterfly with the right wing more perfectly formed. I feel like this is talking about a refinement in our intuition and like our spiritual connection and that right brain activity that is going on right now via the mental transformation that is underway, that is also like shifting and changing our perspective on things at this point in time as we move through into this new energy. We have Uranus, like I said earlier, at 18 degrees of Taurus, a woman airing an old bag through a sunny window, giving it air and sunlight. This is refreshing us, airing things out again. Like I said, it's like shining the light into things that have been stagnant and just not moving or stuck or just not having the flow of air, not seeing the light of day for a very long time, sort of shining the light on some things that, again, may have been going on in the dark or behind closed doors that is really opening our eyes to something, awakening us to something, and changing things for us as well. Uranus is also the planet of like dramatic, dynamic change. And then the black moon, you guys, 9 degrees of Cancer right now, which is obviously another very important Sabian symbol and planet that we have going on today. That Sabian symbol is a small naked girl bends over a pond trying to catch a fish. And I feel like this is talking about the naked truth of our emotions and what we are missing, what is fleeting to us, what can't we grasp, what is like at the tip of our fingers about our own nature. And it's like, if we can catch this fish, if we can catch this notion, if we can, fine tune this thing about ourselves, then we can understand it and integrate it and overcome and release and transcend and gain this power over our own experience. Because that's the thing at the end of the day with the black moon, you guys, it's only as powerful as our lack of awareness is strong and palpable. The moment that we gain this awareness over our black moon issues, over our shadow side issues, and not only gain the awareness, but like gain the understanding, learn about them, understand the root issue, and see how they're impacting us and see how they play out in our own lives, this puts us in the driver's seat. This puts us in the place of like self-mastery. This makes us the captain of our own ship because we can cut off these behaviors and we can reprogram this dimension of our mind that is so responsible for our actual experiences and encounters and relationships. And we can do this in a way that allows us to actually create, attract, and manifest into our lives the experiences that are in alignment with us and that are conducive to our growth and the activation of our potential and our destiny, instead of like our subconscious constantly trying to draw these experiences to us that are actually something that is, off balance inside of us for the purpose of us, finally gaining an awareness of it and being able to break these cycles, break these patterns, break these algorithms, these codes that are operating within our own mind that are contributing to this process. So we are like breaking our own algorithms and reprogramming our subconscious mind in a way that allows us to, first of all, embrace ourselves and care for ourselves and accept ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally. And as a result of that, then not have any hangups in regards to how we give and receive love from others, or the projections that we have out of feelings of lack or unworthiness or lack of love for ourselves, then impacting the ability that we are able to experience these same things externally. And, where we are, like I said in the beginning, like casting ourselves out or rejecting ourselves, this is likely to be where we are feeling cast out or rejected mirrored back at us throughout the course of this black moon cycle, when that is how this energy operates. So you guys, that is what I have to say for our Cancer new moon that is coming at us this cycle. Now let's draw a synchronicity card, you guys. This is just going to be a little advice from God to help us navigate this cycle, and just something that we need to hear and to keep in mind as we are going throughout the course of this energy. And here is the card. This is perfect. It says, you guys, God's the boss. So this is what we need to remember. This is what we need to keep in mind as we are navigating whatever difficulties or simultaneously whatever successes are coming to us this cycle. We do have Saturn retrograde. This can bring karmic challenges, but it can also bring karmic blessings. And this new moon is in a square to Jupiter, which, like I said, when we're feeding positivity, as long as it's not to excess, we are likely to really surprise ourselves with what we are able to achieve and receive throughout the course of this cycle. So, okay, God's the boss. Let's read this card. Who then is that faithful and wise steward? Luke 12:42. You must do your job joyously and faithfully in the knowledge that God is your boss. Your subconscious will then respond and promote you and remove obstacles to your success. Have a constructive vision. Be faithful to your vision. Show respect and authority, and you will be prospered along all lines. This is exactly describing how we get a positive impact, how we get a positive benefit from the Jupiter square. I'm going to read this card again because this is, like, I don't know that if I had been thumbing through the cards, if I could have picked one that applies more to the energy that we have going on this cycle. It says, you must do your job joyously and faithfully in the knowledge that God is your boss. Your subconscious, talked so much about that, will then respond and promote you and remove obstacles to your success. That's what I was talking about, reprogramming our subconscious mind via this awareness that we are gaining. Have a constructive vision, be faithful to your vision, show respect for authority, and you will be prospered along all lines. Whatever we are doing, as long as we are staying along the positive side of things and staying out of excess, having a respect for authority, having a constructive vision, we will be prospered along all lines. So this is the message, you guys, that the divine God, universe, spirit wants to impart upon us as we are transversing the next few weeks of this new moon energy. So that is what I have to say today, you guys, for my new moon report. I hope that you guys liked it. I hope I was able to provide something for you that can give you a little bit of insight into what we are moving into throughout the course of this cycle. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would be into this or like this type of thing too. Leave me comments, you guys. I absolutely love your comments. I seriously appreciate each and every single one of you. I'm so grateful for you being here. Thank you guys again. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social media stuff. Those are in my description box below. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We will have some post-new moon energy to talk about, and we are prepping to move into July in the next couple of days. So I will be here. You do not want to miss it. You should be here too, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.